Howdy folks, Spencer here, and today I'll be breaking down the stats of the Pakled Miracle Worker Clumpship. As always, chapters to each topic are listed below. And starting with the basics, the Clumpship is from Star Trek Lower Decks, and as you can see in the picture here, and as you saw in the show, these Clumpships are composed of a bunch of different ships that the Pakleds acquired over time. So I do wonder what that means for customization options for this ship, though in the blog, they opted to only show this one specific variant. So we'll find out once it goes live just how complex the customization options are. Now, as for acquiring this is dropping today on PC, April 8th, and there's no release date listed for console yet. And unfortunately, this is a promotional tier ship. Promotion ships are the most expensive ships in STO. They're typically going to cost you more than 1.5 billion EC to acquire for a single character off of the player exchange. And if you're trying to open the promotion packs to gamble for one, you can easily spend a couple $100 getting this ship for just a single character. Now, this ship will not be an option for the event campaign box that we're getting from the current event campaign, but future event campaigns starting in 2026 onwards will have this ship as an option if you're looking for a way to obtain it for free. But the question you guys are here to have answered is, with it being such an expensive ship, does it have the stats or the accessories to back up that price point? So let's start off with the stats here. It has a hull modifier of 1.6, which is pretty high, a shield modifier of 0.95, which is very low in contrast to that hull modifier. It has a 4-4 weapon setup, which is not the most desirable. It is still capable, but most of you prefer 5-3. It has 4 device slots. We'll go over the bridge officers in a moment. Console-wise, 4 attack, 4 inch, 3 psi, and 1 universal. Base turn rate of 5.5, impulse of 0.17, inertia of 35, so this is a very, very slow-moving ship. +5 to engine and shield power, +10 to weapon and ox. It can equip dual cannons. It has sensor analysis, apparently. That's a bit different. And it has the Miracle Worker mechanics. And it is a battle cruiser. So a battle cruiser with sensor analysis is certainly different, but the 4-4 weapon setup on this, combined with the really weak mobility, is not that great. And for the bridge officer setup, this is a Commander Universal with Miracle Worker, Lieutenant Commander Engineer with Command, Lieutenant Commander Attack, Lieutenant Universal, and Ensign Universal. So the best way for me to summarize this bridge officer setup is that it's interesting. It is not the best, it's far from the best, but it's also far from the worst. It is somewhere in the middle. The Miracle Worker Command Specialization combo, that is capable for do tanking or torps, but it's not the best specialization combo for any of those playstyles. And that really is the best way to summarize this entire bridge officer setup. You can make this work. You can even do some interesting things on here, like run a battle cruiser with a commander attack or a commander psi. But this ship doesn't stand out to me with this layout as being able to do things better than other ships out there. I think for any playstyle that you're looking at, there are going to be better ships out there for whatever that playstyle is. Next up, the Admiralty card is 60 inch, 29 psi, 37 tack, and the special is ignore plus or minus inch from events. And shifting over to the accessories, first up here is the console, Pakled Technological Space Hook. Pakled Smart, enemy ships keep warping out of Pakled weapons reach. Pakled added Space Hook. It grab enemy ships, now enemy ships can't escape. Pakled then fire weapons at enemy ship. Sometimes Pakled weapons also hurt enemy ship's friends. Pakleds have many weapons on ship, different weapons on every slot. Pakled strong. So there's more info for this up above in the blog here. This console grabs hold of a target using propelled hooks, which deliver continuous damage for up to 10 seconds. The haphazard construction of this console means that some occasional pulses of energy might escape and damage nearby foes. 25% chance per pulse to damage up to 5 nearby targets in a small area. The slot that this console is put in will determine the type of damage this console does. And thanks to Marcus over in the Builds Discord, I have a picture of the console here. So the passives are minus 25% power transfer rate and then plus 5 max power to each subsystem. So that is an interesting set of passives there. And then for the clicky, you can see it does a different damage type depending on what console it is slotted in. So in attack console slot, it's going to do phaser damage. Inge will do plasma. Psi will do anti-proton, and Universal will do kinetic. And as for the performance of this console, there's quite a few variables to test here with it, especially the science part of it, which is going to scale with EPG skill. So it's going to take a couple days for folks to go in and properly test this, so I don't have that performance information for you here today. And for the Starship trait, this is Pakled Big. Pakleds might not know how technology works, but they certainly know how to make it work. They pick up scrap from fallen ships and stick whatever survives into their systems. As such, you can never know what to expect when dealing with one. And thankfully, we have an in-game picture of this Starship trait from Belarus over on the STO Builds Discord. So once per second, when using a non-specialty bridge officer ability, get a stacking bonus of plus 1% to all damage, that's a Cat 1 damage buff, plus 1 bonus power and max bonus power capacity to all subsystems, and plus 1% of your max hull capacity as temporary hull points. Each instance lasts 10 seconds and can stack up to 15 times. So what that means is every time you activate a non-specialty bridge officer ability, it is going to refresh the duration of all of these stacks that you have. So if you're running enough non-specialization bridge officer abilities on your ship, so attack, injure, psi abilities, then you can get up to 15 stacks, get a 15% damage buff, 15 bonus power and max bonus power, plus 15% max hull capacity as temporary hit points. And if you're spamming enough abilities, you can constantly maintain that. So this is a really interesting trait. It is a bit on the stronger side, but it doesn't have quite enough punch to make it into the top 7, in my opinion, but definitely something that is going to be of interest to some of you out there. So, summary time. Do I think the Pakled Clumpship is the next big ship that you all should run out and pick up? No. It is super expensive, and I just am not that impressed with the stats. You know, this is a ship that's going to potentially cost you hundreds of dollars to obtain for a single character, and the value just isn't there. You're looking at a ship that has a 4-4 weapon setup, which is capable, but not the most desired. You're looking at something that has a decent bridge officer setup, but, you know, far from the best, far from the worst. It's in the upper mid-range, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, is that something you really want to spend a couple $100 on for a single character? I don't think the ship is that amazing from a performance point of view. If you're looking for a cruiser that has a Commander Universal, there are other options out there. The Lobby store has the Tal Shiar Adapted Battle Cruiser, and while the Pakled does have a slightly better bridge officer setup, you know, it's not that much of a difference in how you're actually going to set the ships up. So, you know, the Pakled, it's fine. If you want to go for it, you can make it work, but I view the ship as more of a meme ship, and if you're going to go for it for that reason, then you don't care about the performance aspect. Now, as for the console and trait, they're interesting, but, you know, we haven't seen the performance information for the console yet. But the trait, as interesting as it is, as good as it looks for some situations, I think you can continue to play the game perfectly fine without that trait. And even if the console does perform well, we have a lot of really good performing Universal consoles right now, many of which come from C-Store ships. So I don't think you have to worry about this ship. This is just a really expensive luxury item. And, you know, really, if this is something you want, then just have it on your list for future event campaigns. But let me know what you guys think of this down below. And that is going to be it for today. So, as always, thank you to all channel members and viewers for the continued support. See you guys around.